This is Kam Kelly. Welcome to another Devil Talk. As always, once again, joined by Poper, otherwise known as Brent Pope.
Nice to be here, Cam. We're nicely out of summer though now, and it's rainy and nasty outside. Good to be indoors with you.
It's good that last week, for all hardcore hockey fans, we were discussing accents. This week, I think we can spend a good 10 minutes discussing South Wales weather if you want.
I think we'll move forward. I think we see it enough, and there's enough rain sliding down my head, so I think we'll just we'll stay dry.
It's not as warm as it could be. And also joining us in the studio today, it's Paul Ragan. I don't know whether you've ever heard of this guy. He's not a forward. He's not a centre. He's not a defence. He's not a net keep. Would it be fair to say you run the world?
No. Good morning.
Morning.
And I might be playing Saturday.
Good afternoon and good night.
Yeah, depending on where you are in the world when you actually listen to
Exactly, yes. And I might be playing Saturday. I'm just waiting for a call up from G.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Is that one of those, just for the record, owner of the Cardiff Devils? Have you taken to the ice in an ice hockey capacity since owning the Cardiff Devils?
Once with my 4-year-old for about 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I exited sharp right on my rear pretty quickly. So, on a serious note, I have tried it. I've never actually hit a puck yet. But this evening, I'm taking my 4-year-old, Bobby, who's a super skater already, albeit on wheels. And I'm going to have a go and hit my first puck. So who knows?
In fairness, his boy Bobby Ford he's about ready to actually take to the ice. We get a little bit sort of reticent about sort of the youngsters going out there, because once they get in amongst the other boys and girls of that age, sometimes it can be quite busy and a little bit hectic for him. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that he'll enjoy it tonight and have fun and take to it, because he seems to enjoy watching it, and he seems to enjoy on his roller skates. But now we need to turn that to ice skates and get him maybe stuck into our under-10s team.
Probably the right age to do it. As to whether or not he'll play well as a team player, that's another question altogether, because I seem to remember at a match recently, I don't know whether it was this season or last season, little Bobby, of 4 years old, said to my wife, are you enjoying watching my Devils? I think he's taken ownership.
That's about right.
I think he's out of all your kids, how many are we talking? Four?
I've got 4 children, yes.
Kids. Out of all of them, which one enjoys the hockey the most? Because they're usually down every week.
They are normally down every week. They all, I think they're at the point where they will sort of take it or leave it. My daughter will. The boys are more interested in it. Bobby's the one who's really taken to it. But what I would say is at home, they're on skates all the time, which is amazing, because before the Devils, I mean, it was always a football. Now it's skates or a football, or sometimes, as it was this weekend, both, which didn't go down too well.
That's a great game.
Not really. It's very dangerous.
Well, of course,
football on skates.
That's what makes it a great game.
Well, I think they had their own version of Meet the Players when we were at the Coal Exchange at the beginning of the season. It was kind of with a puck, but it was football with a puck. But whatever hybrids they want to create, as long as they're having fun and it's safe, then we're glad to see them active.
Paul Ragan, update on the season so far from your point of view. We'll talk about on the ice first.
Yeah, I think on the ice, certainly home form is as expected, I guess. G's delivered exactly what we wanted. It's been exceptional. We've had one blip, really, which was just that penalty shootout loss to Belfast. But we know they're top of the league. They're a good side. So I'm very, very pleased on the ice at home. Away from home, we haven't quite found our form yet. I think that's pretty much the norm with the Devils sort of starting off the season playing away. But that said, we had a great win in Coventry last week, which was an excellent result. We were outstanding. We thought that was the start of our away win. But we then had a blip in Braehead on Saturday and obviously put 5 goals past them on Sunday and 1 at home. So we just need to get that away form sorted, and really the guys are improving all the time. We've had a few issues. I mean, we had Voth under suspension last week. We had Matska out with concussion. We had Max Babraya out with an injury for 3 or 4 games, I think, Brent.
Yep.
So we've had a few hiccups on the way. But the thing you notice with this game is that suddenly you string 8 or 9 wins together, and we're playing all the big teams very much in the first couple of months of the season. So where the other sides are playing, maybe the lesser sides, we're up there facing the tough sides
big
from
boys.
The start. And we don't have the strength and depth of the bigger clubs, and we don't get our players over quite as early as they do for financial reasons purely. So, it is more difficult for us to be able to compete, but we'll get there.
I have to say, everything from Beerbreyer's injury to Voth's suspension, and also new signings and players that departed the club last season, or at the end of it, certainly. For a team that is relatively young and got quite a lot of new blood in it, they're playing extremely well. I know you've listed a few blips there, but if you look at a new team playing together for the first time this season, they're stringing together an incredible amount of wins.
When I got to the club 18 months ago, the one thing that stood out straight away was there seemed to me to be a bit of a lack of team ethos between office and team. And I spent a fair bit of time with G in the early days, and we talked about that, and we did various things together last year to sort of build that bond, if you like, between us, because we are one unit. It's important that we're performing in the office and on the ice, and if you can get those two together, you end up with a great, hopefully a great result at the end of the season. It all comes down to winning silverware. Last year you could not have come any closer without physically winning silverware. It was our best year in 15 years on the ice. We're world record holders for the run of wins that we had. So, we achieved so much in terms of the on-ice products. And it bodes well, obviously, for a new stadium that's only, 21 months away now.
Right.
It's exciting. I mean, I think we've been talking about the stadium for a long time, and I think Paul's right in talking about the success we enjoyed last year, that it probably has been 15 years. I mean, 96, 97 was when we won the Super League. I had the good fortune of being a part of that roster, and then 99, probably the last, big championship and winning the playoff championship when it was in Manchester. But it's a tricky old business, is getting the balance between on the ice and delivery and sport, and then making the business behind it to support it and make it happen. And I think people often are probably quite curious as to how it works so well on the ice. And then, we have some of the challenges that we had this past week, and having to make some of those strategic decisions in order to get ourselves to that new arena. It's an interesting business to build, but I think we're hopefully now taking the right foundation steps to making that gap now between where we are now and that new arena, while we continue to have a good product on and off the ice.
We can see exactly how that relationship is working out on the ice on a weekly basis, both home and away. You mentioned curiosity. It's a great word. And you keep talking about behind the scenes and what's going on in the offices. What changes are being made, and what benefit do we expect to see from those changes?
Well, I think where we're at this current point is that, talking about sort of off-ice activities, when I took the club on some 18 months ago, it was made very clear that it was a bit of a poison chalice. And I know sports clubs traditionally maybe don't make money, which is fine, but you don't want to lose significant money either. And if we're serious, and if Cardiff Devils will be taken seriously going forward, and we're to build towards a new home, and we expect to pack that out with 3,000-4,000 fans 35 times a year, then we have to have a product that works, and we have to be able to engage with our sponsors, we have to be engaged with our fans, we have to be professional in everything that we do. But at the same time, we're only as good as the people we have. And unfortunately, we're in a situation where what we had wasn't working. We had some really good people that we really did not want to lose. There are various reasons. I don't want to get personal in discussing that. But I felt personally that the club needed to make some pretty tough decisions. Unfortunately, in many terms, it's quite straightforward. You just got to make sure that the money coming in is slightly more of the same as the money going out. Yeah. And our issue is the money hasn't been coming in at the rate, which is difficult times out there at the moment. It needs a change in strategy. There are certain things that work very well for us, such as advertising with capital. And there are things that don't work very well for us, and we're not seeing a return. So it's obvious, like any team, to say, right, okay, well, tactically, we've got to change tactics. We need to change the players in that team. We need to go maybe more aggressive up front and maybe be less defensive. And that's really where we're at.
All right, we will get back to that because I want to go into that in more detail. Meanwhile, this weekend, the Cardiff Devils are away in Fife on Saturday night.
Yeah, Fife Flyers. They're actually a long-established team in British ice hockey, but now back at top flight. They've got a decent product, but a team that's probably just trying to get their feet underneath them here to start the year. But again, a long trip to Scotland for our boys before coming back on Sunday, as they did last week to Glasgow. So it's a challenge to get there and to make sure you can get those points. But that'll be the real key this weekend, to make sure we come back hopefully with 2 points, ahead of our game on Sunday against Sheffield.
Well, I was going to say, Sheffield Steelers, obviously, there's a massive rivalry there. Is one of the things that you will suggest that you go to Fife and you play your hearts out, or go to Fife, play, but let's reserve some for Sunday when we take on the Sheffield Steelers.
I don't even know if you just, sorry, Paul, I don't even know if you have to say that. I think you got to get the points while they're available. I think the guys will want to win in Fife, and they'll be, they're pros. They know they need to get those 2 points in the bag before the weekend. I think when you come back, even though you're tired after a journey coming back, just the adrenaline of playing a game against Sheffield, the energy that's in the building, and the excitement that's just naturally there, and playing against some of your rivals, you don't even have to call on that for extra energy. It just comes out as an athlete, and that extra adrenaline, that bit that you need to be successful at home, will be there anyhow. So you'd love to have the points in the bag already.
Good luck to the Cardiff Devils against the Fife Flyers and the Sheffield Steelers this weekend. On next week's Devil Talk, we'll continue our chat with Paul Ragan. We'll discuss the good times and the not so good times at the Cardiff Devils.
It wasn't in a great place, the business. And, we all know what the consequences were by going through that season.
We'll also address those rumours that are flying around at the moment. Could he be the next CEO of Cardiff City Football Club?
Maybe I'll get some silver offer you can't refuse. But at the end of the day, look, my commitment is to Cardiff Devils.